Hey watch fam, and welcome to another episode of Basically Watches. In this video we're going to look at a slightly unique piece, and that is the Panton Kuwait Edition by WMT Watches, a micro brand based out of Hong Kong. But before we jump into the review of this watch, if this is our first time meeting, my name is Oswin and welcome to the channel. I created this channel to share my love and passion for watches. And the goal of this channel is to create a highly engaged community of watch enthusiasts where we can share our love and passion for watches, and particularly focus on affordable yet high quality timepieces. So if this is something that resonates with you, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Now without further ado, let's flip perspectives and look at the Panton Kuwait Edition by WMT Watches. So I thought I'd start with a quick unboxing to show you the packaging and the contents that the watch came with. So let's just quickly unbox this. So that was the outer box, and here's the inner box that it came in. Pretty basic packaging. So we'll take that out, and you've got the instruction manual there and the warranty stamped on the back of it. And it says the Panton Edition there. And so let me quickly take that out, and so yeah, that's the contents of the box. You get a spring bar tool, a couple of spring bars, and the watch itself. So here it is guys, the Panton Kuwait Edition by WMT Watches. This particular piece was limited to 50 pieces and is now sold out. When I saw this watch on a forum, I instantly fell in love with it and couldn't wait to add it to my collection. I hadn't heard of WMT watches at the time, so I reached out to the person that posted a picture of this watch on the forum, and he pointed me to their website. Now, if you're anything like me, then I'm sure you can relate. I tried to do a lot of research about the brand and their reputation. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a lot of information about their background on their website. So I started scouring through the internet, and after scrolling through several blogs and forums, here's what I've been able to find out so far. WMT Watches, which stands for Walter Mitt Watches, also known as Watch Experimental Unit, is a micro-brand based out of Hong Kong. It appears they started selling watches around 2017. And according to an interview published by Kaminsky blog, Alan Shum is the founder of WMT Watches. Apparently he's very passionate about vintage Rolexes and used to work as a design director for a watch company. He has also worked with many high-end European watch brands. One of the really good things about WMT watches is they give you the ability to customize your own watch. You can choose from different bezels, dials, hands, straps, and even different case colors. So if you're into vintage watches, the look and feel of them, but yet you want to create a unique watch, then I suppose WMT watches is a really unique proposition. So what do I like about it? They say every watch tells a story, and this particular watch is very nostalgic for me. Having grown up in Kuwait, this watch evokes a lot of emotions and brings back a lot of childhood memories. The writing on the dial in Arabic, which says Dawlat al-Kuwait, which translates to the state of Kuwait, is the place where I grew up. The Arabic numerals on the bezel reminds me of being in school and learning how to count and tell the time in Arabic. The execution of every vintage element in this watch is really commendable. The vintage-inspired Pepsi bezel gives it that nice bakelite look. The aged brass edging on the bezel, the Jubilee bracelet, the patina on the hands, the hour markers, and the dial further adds to that vintage look and feel. It has a screw-down crown with hand winding. It's got really good water resistance at 100 meters. This is a bit of a bonus, especially if you like the look of vintage watches but don't want the hassles that come with owning vintage watches. Because one of the biggest problems with vintage watches is there's always this uncertainty about water resistance, and you have to be really careful with them around water. It's a nice wearable size due to its shorter lug width and will suit smaller wrists. And also with its 20mm lug width, it allows for plenty of strap options should you decide to change the strap. So what don't I like about it? One of my biggest bugbears of this watch is the bracelet. Although it is comfortable, it does feel a bit cheap and really jiggly. But then again, vintage Jubilee bracelets were hollow and felt like that, so I suppose it's one of those things you have to put up with. The clasp on this watch was another pain point. It's a real struggle to open, and I did reach out to them about it a couple of times and I hadn't got a response. After a couple of follow-ups, they finally came back to me and they said it was part of their vintage design, which I thought was really disappointing. The finish on this watch as well was not the best. So straight out of the box, when I put it out, I'm going to try and see if I can capture that. There were some scratches on the edges of the case, so this side and that side. If you can see them, I'll try and do some macro shots as well. So yeah, I don't know if this is purposeful to emulate that vintage look and feel, or just an excuse to get away with poorer manufacturing. I'd be really curious to know what others have experienced with their WMT watches. So if you own one, please do leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know if you had similar issues where there were scratches and scuff marks on the case, etc. The other thing that I thought was a bit poor was their post-sales customer service. Their pre-sales customer service was fantastic and they were super responsive. However, I cannot say the same about their post-sales. As I mentioned earlier, I had to follow up a couple of times before I got a response about the quality issues I flagged. And finally, the price. I paid $690 for it, plus postage, and I think at $690 it is slightly overpriced compared to all the other watches in their range. And at $690 I would have expected a slightly better finish, but that's just my personal opinion. And here is a wrist preview to show you what it looks like on my wrist. I've got a 7.25 inch wrist, and although it is a 38mm, it wears quite well. And that's largely because of its decent size lug-to-lug width of 46mm. My sweet spot for watches is between 40 and 42mm. And that's how it looks like in terms of the height. I think you could easily wear that with a dress shirt and it would easily slip under the cuff. With the Jubilee bracelet, although I did say I'm not a fan of this particular one, it is comfortable and I didn't experience any pinching when I wore it. Hey watch fam, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, you know what to do. Smash that like button and drop a 1 in the comment section below. If you're not enjoying this video, then drop a 2 in the comment section below. Either way, leave a comment because it helps. Jumping into the specs of the watch. It's got a Miyota 8215 automatic movement, which is a proven movement. The case material is stainless steel, so the case and the bracelet is made out of stainless steel. It's got some shiny edges as well as brushed edges on the case as well as the bracelet. Case diameter of 38mm. Case length, that is lug to lug, is 46mm with a thickness of 14.5mm. And it's also got a lug width of 20mm, so which gives you plenty of strap options. It's got a double dome eclairic crystal. Now eclairic is obviously to complement that vintage look and feel, but the problem with eclairic is it tends to be a bit of a scratch magnet. But I suppose it's one of those things, you know, if you look after that vintage look and feel, then it perfectly complements the watch. And the other thing that I mentioned earlier is it has a 100-meter water resistance and a screw-down crown, which is a really good feature. And here is the lume shot. The hour hand, minute hand, second hand, the hour markers and the numerals on the bezel are all loomed. In this particular instance, it appears rather bright, and I think it's because of some post-production I've done. However, in reality, the lume's not that bright. Having said that, it is still pretty functional, especially the lume on the hour hand, minute hand and the second hand. So who are WMT watches for? Well, if you're someone that likes vintage watch designs but doesn't want to have to worry about the care and potential high servicing costs or replacement parts costs that comes with vintage watches, then WMT watches might just be for you. If you're also someone that likes the idea of customizing your watches, then WMT watches are a great choice because they give you the option to customize watches based on a variety of dials, bezels, hands, and bracelet. Now the big question, would I buy another watch from them? I'm not so sure at this stage, only because of their lack of post-sale customer support and lack of customer engagement via social media. They have a fairly decent following on social media, and I did try to reach out to them a couple of times via their social channels before purchasing this watch, but I never really got a response. And I think if you're a micro brand, you really need to engage with your customers. So I'm really hoping they improve on those aspects of their branding and really help and grow their brand. So that's pretty much it for the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed that so far. And if you did enjoy it, you know what to do. Smash that like button.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Also, please do let me know in the comment section below what you think of WMT watches. Is this a brand you'd consider buying, or have you bought it yourself? And if you have, what's your experience been with the brand so far? I'd love to know, so please do leave your comments. Finally, if you did enjoy the music in this video, it was produced by my brother-in-law who goes by the name Daiju Music. I'll leave a link to his SoundCloud in the description section below, so please do check it out. Until next time, bye for now.